Welcome to California Traditions at San Juan Bautista, and today we're on the subject of riatas, and particularly the Hondas and ends of riatas, and pardon me, and so here we have a riata. It's a really good example, I think, of an early California style riata. It was made by Felipe Murillo Amador at Rancho San Ramon in Baja California, and, near San Jose de la Noria, and kind of one of the things about the earlier, like pre-gold rush, particularly riatas, is that they had a Honda that was rolled, a rolled kind of a Honda, and so you'd basically roll up, fold and roll up a piece of rawhide, and then your riata would come through a hole in the Honda, and then you'd have a knot here, or Felipe makes his Hondas with a piece of cow horn in there, and so the problem with these older style Hondas is there's a lot of flex here, so it puts a lot of strain on the riata, and so they'll wear really quickly right here, and so the riatas, the riata Hondas changed, and in Baja California they're still using this really more archaic Honda, but some of the riata makers in Baja California now are braiding the Honda back on itself, and so here you have it reinforced. It's not so vulnerable for flexing here, and then weakening and breaking, and so in Baja California these are the two types of Hondas that you would see, and but a lot of the riatas that you see now that are kind of currently available for purchase here in California these days are with this type of Honda, and this Honda here is from central Mexico, Jalisco, and so it's braided so it has a tube that goes down, and then that reinforces the riata where it joins with the Honda here, and this is a really nice kind of a Honda, but it's if you see a riata with this type of Honda, it's probably from central Mexico. And then for the other end of the riata, for the California riatas, you would tend to see them finished with a split braid kind of thing here, and then often left with a tail. And so I'm not sure what the tail is, if that's ornamentation, or maybe if the riata gets away from you and it's roaring around the horn of your saddle and it slaps you in the belly, that maybe that might not be quite as bad as a hard short end of the riata, and but anyway, whatever kind of ends on a riata, it's never a big knot, and because knots tying off the end of the riatas are not done, and mostly because if you can drag your fingers into your dallies and then rip your fingers off, and so this is the other riata from Baja California, with a different type of Honda, but it also has the long ends, and then this one's in a tail, a split tail kind of a formation, and so some of it's still with a split braid, and some of them are like a single tail with a split braid, and then some of them are the two split braids, and with the long tail, and that's probably one of the distinguishing features of a California riata, is this split braid end with the long tails. And this particular riata is kind of interesting. It's from Baja California, but it's a 6-strand braid rather than a 4-strand braid, and so it's very seldom you see a riata that's not 4-strand braid. But some of the places down there, they're working really rugged rugged canyons and thorny areas, and so they'll use sometimes they'll use a heavier, shorter riata because of those conditions. Conditions don't really allow a long, thinner riata to be very useful. And this riata here was exactly from Jalisco to Jamaica, Jalisco, and I changed the Honda because doing historical interpretive work, and this is the Honda that was on this riata, but it doesn't represent the historical California riata. But I like those Hondas, but they're not really characteristic of California. So, for historical interpretation, this is probably not totally correct, but a nice Honda. But they have a slight different way of tying off the end of the riatas, and with this one here, they made in Jalisco, it's a 4-strand, and then they split the 4 strands and braided it into an 8-strand, and then right at the end they just did a half hitch to hold everything together. But I haven't seen this type of a system with California riatas, so that might be another characteristic of a riata from central Mexico. Okay, so that's kind of a basic rundown on the characteristic of the Hondas and the ends of the riatas, but another type of Honda that was really common in California, and it's called the San Juan Honda, and so most of the California riatas that you see in Alta California are made with that San Juan riata, and what you call a San Juan riata or San Juan Honda, and supposedly that type of Honda came from Sonora, Mexico, and then it was adopted here in California. So all the later riatas that were made with that, and the San Juan, what they call the San Juan Honda, which is a more, Honda that was a little bit more durable for the riata, and I don't have one, but we'll try and make one, and so you'll be able to see what a San Juan Honda is like. Okay, I'm going to try and make a Honda for a piece of a riata that was a short section, and because the riata was eaten by rats, and so for historic sites, it's a lot of people want to try and learn how to use the riata, but a full-size riata is really difficult for people to learn on, especially children, and because it takes a lot of practice and a fair amount of strength to be able to handle like a full-size riata. And so the idea is to take a smaller section of a riata, which was a pretty fine diameter, small diameter riata anyway, and then make a San Juan Honda for it, and then kind of a fairly small, light San Juan Honda, and then have that for for visitors to practice on. So I got two pieces of rawhide here, and I'll grease them up a little bit with saddle soap, and about a couple of feet long, and the San Juan Honda is basically a rawhide ring that's tied into the riata, and so these are about 2 feet long, and so I want to do a split braid in the center of it, more or less in the center of it. What do I do with my... Oh, here it is. And then I'll do another cut in the other string, and cut some points on the ends of these. But I like using a chisel kind of a thing to cut the slots rather than doing it with a knife, because it's seems to work a lot better. And trying to cut these with a knife, it's lots of times it seems like you end up cutting yourself and then getting a slot that's not that accurate too. I think that's probably as much split braid as we need. And so now try and braid the rest of the Honda. And I think I'll probably do it around the core, and then like braiding around the core, and this is probably kind of optional, but.
Is that what this piece is intended for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and use it as a core. So then I'll Hopefully I'm not getting it around the corner. And I'll pull my cord down and
Oh, to hide it.
yeah, and then we did earlier videos on cutting the strings and braiding the riatas, so we can refer back to those earlier videos that we did for more information on techniques for cutting strings and and braiding. And
This is the
The
same braid as a riata? Yeah.
yeah, it is. For the most common type of riata, almost all riatas are braided with 4-strand, and then and then most of them over a core. And so basically, we're just doing the same thing as we would have done with the riata.
Gotcha.
Probably a little more, I think. Might be good. Probably better this way. Okay, I'll run my strings through this Honda that I did there, and okay, and then I'll try and do a crown knot here to tie in the end, and so. Go. Oops. Doesn't look very good. Okay, we're at this pattern here, and then now we'll take these and go underneath here and then come up to the center. And hopefully we'll have our knot if we pull it tight. Okay, there we basically have our San Juan Honda. Maybe not the prettiest one because this is because I'm not used to making that type of Honda, but
Looks really nice to me.
that's the idea. And then this is the reata and pieces that I want to try and use for for people to learn on, and especially kind of small and light enough that a child can learn how to use a reata with it. And okay, now we need to.
To attach it? You need to attach it?
Yeah, we're attaching the Honda to the reata now. So
How do you plan to do that?
well, I'm taking splitting the two strands from each side, and then running them through the so that they so that they'll wrap around, and then we'll tie the. So I'll do another crown knot kind of a thing, and So we'll bring this around and then underneath its neighbor and up through the middle. Oops, I'm getting lost there.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, and then sometimes they braid it further down, and But for our purposes, I think this will work for.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then we'll put a burner on here. But there's nothing particularly unusual about the type of burner. I'll find a piece of rawhide for it. But
Okay.
But instead of punching holes, I'm just making slits here instead of holes. And let's see, there's a string here that might work. But And we'll see if we can tighten that up.
That's pretty amazing.
So that's basically the San Juan Honda, which is characteristic of Alta California riatas and from the late 1800s up to present day. Okay, to be continued. Okay, here we're going to tie up the ends of this riata, and then I'll do a split braid kind of a thing, and then I'll maybe make like two tails, and two-tailed split braids. Never can remember to point the ends of my strings. So we'll gonna have our little practice riata ready to go now. Not much room to swing here, but that's kind of the type of throw that's really used a lot, and then you know, just to throw it out like that without swinging around your head, and especially when you're working on the ground, and with that type of throw you can actually throw a riata quite a ways, and then if you're not swinging the rope around your head, the livestock tends to stay a lot calmer, and then that's kind of a easy way to get people to learn how to throw a riata, and because that's a legitimate, often used throw, and everybody thinks you have to throw the riata around your head, but that takes a little bit more time to learn to be able to do that. And
can you show us one more time?
just build yourself a loop, and then you put it out behind you, and then you just throw it out like that. And then but the ride riata has quite a bit of mass to it, so you can you can throw it quite a ways and get a little bit longer distance out of a riata than you can some other ropes that you know, aren't as dense, that don't have as much weight behind them. So to be continued.